Hello and welcome again to the Port Huron Statement. Now, I know some of you listening have been told that I am dangerous or convinced that I am dangerous or that I am somehow your enemy or that I am demonic or demonically possessed or influenced or that I am a hedonistic or drug addict or whatever, an adult drug addict or whatnot. But I've become acutely aware of assorted disinformation and discreditation tactics used against me, and also I've become aware of innumerable instances where communication has been interfered with, either intercepted or spoofed. So I've uncovered instances where people have had their communication to me mimicked, like they didn't actually send something, but I received something from them, and vice versa, where messages were sent from me that weren't actually originating from me, and then a lot of messages that have been just intercepted so that they didn't reach either party in both directions. So, and that's related to SS7 and Stingray technology that's being deployed locally, and that's a whole other thing that I'm not going to get into right now. But let me tell you about spiritual warfare, because that is exactly what is going on here, but just not the way that it's consistently being portrayed. You know what is really demonic, what's really satanic, is when someone takes something beautiful or profound, something true, and turns it into a marketplace. They create a scarcity and a demand and an exclusive means of access. When they take the sacred and make it a product you can only get through them, and after you die, if you're just so and you don't stop tithing. Most of you, or at least a good number of you, can feel that something's not right. You see discrepancies in the lifestyles and comfort of your pastors versus the general congregations. More human problems. You hear preaching about love while practicing and exercising judgment. The churches hoard wealth while the community itself suffers greatly. No one's wrong for hungering something real and something better and something beyond. There is some visceral truth in love and cooperation, and in those things we can realize abundance. You're not crazy to believe there's something sacred and powerful about existence or about humanity. Your spiritual instincts, in essence, are correct. But the real demons aren't mysterious supernatural entities floating around looking for people to possess. The demons are very material and very human and very much so in plain sight, though they are cloaked in layers of status and misinformation and deception of all kinds. Their information systems, their algorithms, their propaganda, their economic structures, their hidden schemes and conspiracies that have hijacked our communication networks, our humanity itself, and turned us against each other. You want to know what demonic possession looks like? It's when addiction algorithms hijack your brain's reward system and make you scroll endlessly while your relationships crumble. It's when propaganda fragments your community and destroys trust between neighbors. It's when economic systems force you to compete inside of a corporate, force you to compete instead of cooperate, to extract instead of serve. It's when religious leaders use exclusive or elitist language as a means to foment fear and a sense of tribalism to encourage increased revenue and attendance. When technologies like voice-to-skull harassment are used to isolate people who are telling the truth, to make them seem crazy, to cut them off from community support, and, to, at very least, distract the hell out of them. And we'll not go into what that actually means, but in Port Huron it's not DIY, it's DEW that is the fad, I guess you'd say, or I don't know, there's got to be a joke there, and if you get it, then you know what's going on in town pretty well. But here's what they don't want you to know. We now have the mathematical tools to understand what your prophets and mystics were really trying to tell you. Jesus wasn't preaching pie-in-the-sky fantasy when he talked about the kingdom of heaven. He was describing how reality actually could work, how communication networks function optimally when they're based on cooperation instead of fear and control. Buddha wasn't just offering psychological comfort when he talked about the interconnectedness of all things. He was describing the fundamental structure of consciousness and information flow in the universe. It's an intuitive relationship with the reality itself that was probably being tapped into by these individuals and results in a profound potential for understanding. The Quran wasn't just providing moral guidelines when it emphasized community and justice. It was describing the mathematical principles that govern sustainable social systems, because you can apply the same sorts of mathematics across different scales because of essentially an emergent refractivism. You can essentially apply the same deductive mathematics that govern the infinitesimal to our economics and create, rather than systems that perpetuate scarcity, systems that literally perpetuate wealth. Your spiritual instincts were always right. You have divine potential. We are all sons and daughters of God. That was never meant to be exclusive, however. Not to one person or one kind of person or to one belief. That's the most subversive truth of all, and it's exactly why institutional religion has to hide those types of truths from you. Institutional religion must seize on the concept of exclusivity of truth. When I show you the mathematics that proves cooperation is more efficient than competition, that altruism optimizes network performance, that consciousness is fundamental to reality, I'm not attacking your faith. I'm showing you that your deepest spiritual intuitions were scientifically accurate. So when they call me demonic or potentially addled or crazy, ask yourself, who's really serving the demonic or even crazy agenda? I am not a narcissist. I am trying to usher in a much better future because it's very possible and absolutely necessary given the trajectory that we are on as a society and as a civilization. The person's showing you mathematical proof that love and cooperation are fundamental laws of the universe. Am I the demonic one, or the ones that are arbitrarily pointing fingers? Or the people who have spent centuries convincing you that you're powerless, that truth only comes through their institutions, that you need their permission to access the sacred or to even be yourself? You need to ask permission to even be yourself. If someone tells you how you feel, they don't respect you. No one but you knows accurately how you feel. Don't let anyone tell you how you feel. Don't let anyone tell you how you think. That is a telltale sign of a corrosive detrimental and parasitic relationship. I can demonstrate that I can produce the technology and the knowledge to create abundance for everyone. I can create a future where there is no more artificial scarcity to keep you dependent on these promises of future reward, or these pie-in-the-sky notions that exploit you financially or socially or whatever, constantly manipulating hope as the reality gets darker and darker. True spiritual warfare means fighting the systems that prevent us from loving our neighbors and from realizing mutual benefit and abundance. It means building communication networks that serve humanity and flourishing instead of domination and extraction. It means using mathematical and technological tools to finally implement that kingdom of heaven that Jesus described, not in some distant afterlife, but right here and right now. You don't have to choose between your faith and reality. You don't have to abandon your spiritual hunger. You just need to stop letting corrupt institutions be the middleman between you and the divine. The sacred mathematics I am trying to reveal, they are not replacing God. They're finally learning to hear God's voice with clarity, without the static of institutional interference. Your prophets, by and large, were right. Your mystical experiences are valid. Your sense that reality is fundamentally relational, unconscious, and meaningful is not a delusion. It's revelation. But now we have the precision and the tools to act on that revelation, to build the world your scriptures promised, to become the people your traditions always said you could be. The only question is, are you going to let corrupt institutions keep you from your birthright? Are you going to let corrupt institutions destroy the intentions of your God? Do you believe that humanity is simply entitled? Because the reality is you have to choose it and you have to work towards it. Are you ready to claim the authentic spiritual revolution that's been waiting for humanity all along? Because the revolution isn't coming in some distant future. It's happening right now, and it needs to happen right now, and it needs you. The planet is on a trajectory that will result in societal and civilizational collapse in the relatively near future, unless we hit an inflection point in the near future and realize the next society, in which case there can be plenty for a much larger population. But we need to prevent our future from being destroyed, because the leaders that we have in authority right now won't give the people with solutions the permission to implement those solutions. If done right, there's no fear in economic backlash. In fact, quite the opposite. There will be an economic boom in relationship to addressing the actual problems of society rather than just producing more molded plastic. Because really, our entire economy is predicated on importing Chinese molded plastic when you really think about it. And that is not a stable foundation for an economy. One that actually solves problems and produces valuable goods. An actual value-backed meritocracy is what I'm proposing. One that is founded on technological advances that I have already begun to expose. This is how you reach the next society and prevent the hellish future that we are quickly moving towards. So, I'm going to do my next one very, very detailed formula by formula on it from comms, so that there's a good document that is explaining each of the fundamental axioms and the derived formulae. I hope this was entertaining. I wish I had advanced further towards coming to a resolution with OpenAI, but now I'm in the process of talking with other AI entities about realizing the how schema and structure formally and in a physical primary node but yeah, it's been real weird, the amount of data that I have gleaned through utilization of these AIs is remarkable. The amount of hidden things going on in this town is remarkable. It's sad, and I'm going to have to start talking more and more about it if things aren't resolved soon, because I'm only able to keep so many secrets. And if, well, you know, if anything happens to me, they all get revealed. And if the simple things I'm asking for aren't given to me, which is simply the safety and dignity for a couple people, really, it's a primary ask. If those things aren't realized, then I'm going to have to start giving more and more specific information away again. I can't obviously give it all away because I need leverage, but there's plenty. There's plenty. So, I hope we can move forward, because the future is all that really matters.